Israel planning to nuke Iran.
Look
Bloodbath
this
in
up.
Iran as
I'm
revolution
just gonna
continues
run
unabated. Okay. Um,
continues unabated. Now watch. The Abraham Lincoln is in position now. It's just arrived. Did Israel conduct nuclear tests? It's created an earthquake near their Dimona nuclear site. Israel threatens nuclear war. This is the seismograph of the earthquake that happened on January 15th. Netanyahu told Trump not to attack yet because Israel is not ready. So I think he tested the bomb. This is a scene from Failsafe. You remember the movie Failsafe?
right.
You know what? They mention UFOs in this snippet. It's very short. The bombers are off going to Russia, and there's some unidentified craft there. He says, "Well, we have to identify that UFO."
Could it be that? Could be anything.
Here it
How do
is.
you find out? Now, fighters are tracking it. Halfway through long. 14, 13, 12, 11.
Okay, then there's different types of nukes.
Oh my
Netanyahu's
goodness
four
me, you found
identities. You know, he's got a social security number, and he has four different identities. And this is Colonel Wilkerson talking about the condition of the army there in Israel. Then these are very important. These are reports directly from Tehran by way of London, with the Crown Prince talking directly to Ayatollah Khamenei. And
Well, you know what
that's
they
just
did.
about it.
You know what they did when they evacuated? They left what? What was it? $6 billion in military supplies back there, because if they didn't leave the military supplies, they wouldn't have any war
You
anymore.
mean Afghanistan? It's Afghanistan.
Yeah, Afghanistan. They left everything behind
Afghanistan.
in order to be able to sit there
That's
and
89, and they're selling it.
yeah.
They're selling it. That's the thing.
This is the
They're
cube I was
selling it to
talking
other
about.
nations.
These things, these Roman nodules.
Yeah.
Okay, they keep rolling the thing around. Each
Hey,
one
listen,
of
why
those
don't we start
faces
with
have a
that?
different size.
I want to do a short piece on the Buga.
Huh?
I want to do a short piece on the Buga. I want to do a
Oh,
short piece on the
that's in
Buga.
there.
10 or 15 minutes. I know, I know. We could start with this, and I have an introduction um, to introduce the Bugosphere, and then I can turn it over to you to talk about the Bugosphere and about this object, and then we'll take it from there for about 15, 20 minutes, maybe half an hour. Okay?
All right.
Just follow my lead. You'll know what to
It's
do.
trying to take me
Get
out
your
of.
Bugosphere pictures together. What?
It's trying to take. I need
You
to
can
leave and come
I
right
need
back.
a picture there.
I've
You
got
need a
two
picture
ghost.
there.
Wait a minute. I've got two ghost windows here that are trying to connect to you,
Yeah.
and I need to close them in order to be able to do anything. Hold on. I'll be right back. I
Okay,
hope.
but
Okay,
leave
never
that
mind.
picture
That
there.
way.
That's a really good.
Okay, no, it's still here. It's trying to open, trying to get me to sign
I don't
in.
see it. I don't.
Yeah,
You
you're
know
not.
what? I find that Zoom opens up other windows and goes to save files and shit like that. And the other thing that's bugging me is that Teams notifications. Even though
See
let me
this?
turn off Teams notification because I hate those banners appearing.
Yeah.
Let me
You
go to
see
Teams
that?
for a
I
second and
can't get
shut
rid
off.
of it without leaving the show. I can't
What?
get rid of this. I got to be right back.
Hold on, one thing at a time.
All right, I'm back. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm trying to hold on a second. I want to turn off all the notifications in this. because they're a pain. They keep popping up in the middle of something else. You know, I don't want to hear it.
Right.
And even if I turn off the software, the blue window shows up and says, Naroki sent you a message, Captain Sinclair sent you a message,
Right.
but I don't know exactly where it is.
Buga Sphere. Okay, let's see if we can get a decent shot of it. Um, the Buga Sphere is opened? I didn't catch any of that shit.
No, I don't know if your Boogosphere is open. I just asked
Yeah.
you to bring it in.
Just let me
If
find
we're
some
going to talk
video
about
of
it.
it that's
Where's
halfway decent.
notifications in this thing?
What's that?
Notifications in Teams. So I'm trying to shut it off. I started to watch the Jeremy Weeks whistleblower, you know, the UFO guy writing the digital code.
Right.
Shit, where's notifications? You know?
That's a lousy picture of it. I need a nice shiny image. Oh, here it is right here. And it's already highlighted for me. Now the symbol that they have above here is bullshit. It has 16 dots in that thing that they answered to Carl Sagan. But that's a complete lie. That might be a better one. I need to find a view of it. Damn it, that was a good one, but it was too slow. This is the best one we're going to get, I'm afraid. But it has that stupid design at the top. It's distracting. And this one here and this one here is also connection points. Can you see that? Oh, wait a minute. Let me fix this.
No, I'm still trying to turn off notifications in Teams. I had it the other day. I turned them all off, but it's turned them all on, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The blue window superimposes itself and says Jaffe wrote to you or
Right.
Naroki wrote to you.
Let me see if I can find a better picture of this, though. That doesn't do any good. Fuck. Try a different video.
It's coming across all right.
There we go.
Yeah, that's it.
That's the picture I
Okay,
need.
keep that in reserve. Yeah, you keep that in reserve. Take it down, keep it in reserve. Show me the other picture in the corner like you had before.
All right, wait a
I'll
minute.
do an
Let me
intro and then we'll go to the bug.
just a second. Let me bring up the other video because that does have all of these marked.
Yeah, go ahead.
Dang it. Not what I wanted to do. Hopefully it'll stop where it's supposed to.
Yeah, that looks good. But when we go to it, you should make it full screen.
All right, then this one, I want.
Do you have the video that showed it flying around and the guy recovering it? Because that would be better. Remember, it started off with it flying around. Somebody took a video, then they saw it fall, then they recovered it. That's
Yeah, I think
better
it's in
to
this
start because
video.
that gives you the whole story.
Give it a second.
It looks like it. Go to the beginning of that video. I think that's where it was.
Yeah, it's spinning. Hold on. All right, I want to freeze this one where it is. Let me use the bathroom. I'll be right back. Getting old sucks, and I'm learning that through my urination. I'll be right back. Talking to Mizzy. Mizzy, is he being nice? Is he being easy? Okay. All right, and coffee. Gotta have coffee. All right, got coffee. I gotta scoot forward a little bit here so my camera can see me. All right. A little bit better light there. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm just typing an email to my student who wants to meet for Tai Chi tomorrow outdoors.
No problem. We're not pinched for anything today. We're just putting the ideas together and getting a rough
You're
draft.
not what? Yeah, but I think we can do a 15-minute show on the Buga Sphere. I have a good idea about not all. You'll hear my idea when I start talking about it.
know what? This doesn't have the with it in the air. Thought it did. Hold on. It'd be easier this way. Here it is. It's a 5-minute video.
Yeah, that's not bad. We can incorporate it. You can either play it all to introduce the whole subject, or sections.
Yeah.
You could show it flying and recover it, and then talk about it, then go back to it. All right, there's that. Then go back to this. Oh, you remember the Irish fellow who used to be on the show with me? Sean,
yeah.
He passed away.
Oh no.
Yeah, he passed. He was only 66.
Really?
Dog. Yeah. Okay, I'm ready to rock and roll.
All right. Do you want this public or you want this private?
You see what I'm talking about? You see what I'm talking about? Yeah, here we go to notification settings.
Do you want this public or do you want this private? How do you want it?
I want to record it, and then I'll put it up on YouTube. You can use it on the broadcast.
Well, I have it. What I'm saying is I'm recording on YouTube right now, just our editing and our prep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you don't care if I record it to YouTube right now?
No, I don't care. As long as
we have an open mic to YouTube. Then that'll be fine. That's okay. I'll just put this aside.
Okay, I shut off the notifications.
All righty.
Okay, keep that in. Hold on. I'd rather have you put remember the jar, the hexagonal thing. We can switch over to this. Keep that in reserve, but put that picture in the lower corner that you had before, the bowl or whatever you said it was. Yeah. And that way we can start. We don't even have to talk directly to it, but it'll be good for my introduction.
You like that one? We got several to choose from.
No, I like the one that you had before. It was just it's standing alone, and you could see it was three-dimensional with the hexagons and block, whatever it was.
How about this one? Give it a second. There we go.
I thought the other one was prettier, but
there's a shinier one in here somewhere. Just a second.
Can you find the other one?
It was just, I mean, they
color
repeat. There's so many of them. There's so many different styles.
And the setting. It was a wooden table. I think we just passed it.
It'll take a second to load.
It was on the table.
There we go. How's that one?
No, it wasn't. It was nicer. You could see. It wasn't that one. It wasn't that one either. It was a different one, similar, but it had concentric circles, and the geometry was more evident. Where did that thing come from?
Romans.
Might be Romans?
Yeah. This is one of the mystery items, and I think it's just a fad that caught on, and they were made out of brass. You could use them for a lot of different things. Now, they keep speculating because each one of the holes in each face is a different size. Now, if all the holes in all of them were the same size, in other words, it has the same sizes to choose from, it would make sense.
That's it. That's it. Hold, you just passed it. Hold on. Back. You just passed it. That one. That's it.
Okay, so you see all those holes are a different size, which has caused them,
Yeah.
a lot of questions and stuff like that. But the thing of it is, I would think that that might be a tool or a kitchen implement. You just set that down, you could put your pan on top of it. You see what I'm? Oh, I'm sorry, Luna. I'm sorry, I got
You
you.
could also measure the diameter of different pieces of wood you might want to
Like
use
somebody
for
working with
for
bamboo.
development.
If someone's working with bamboo and they use that in order to size the end of the bamboo.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, we don't have to address any of that. I just wanted there for the introduction. Okay.
All right. Just
All right. I'm going to start the
mystery
recording.
item.
All right. I'm going to start the recording.
All right.
And we'll go for half an hour at the most. Okay.
All right.
I'm recording it to the cloud so you can download it to it in about an
Well,
hour.
I'm
after that
recording
finishes.
right now too, so we're okay there.
Okay. Well, this will be my recording. Okay. All right. Let's go silent till I bring you on. Okay. Hold on.
All right, I'm going to
Recording in progress.
Greetings. This is Robert Morningstar with Alan Fredrickson, and this is a special edition of Beyond Undisclosed. We know that for at least 80 years, the militaries, primarily the United States government and European government, NATO nations, have been recovering extraterrestrial objects, crash disks, flying saucers, other artifacts. Some people think that the war with Iraq, the Gulf Wars, were to retrieve ancient technology that was being harbored by Saddam Hussein under his palace, including a Stargate. The point I'm going to make tonight is that not all of the recoveries have been conducted by governments or militaries. It seems that the entities who create these things or man these things sometimes just drop them on people. I mean, not literally on people. They kind of gift them, like dropping a box of matches on a bunch of Aborigines to teach them how to start a fire. So there are several very mysterious objects that have come to our attention. And tonight we're going to discuss one that has been dubbed the Buga Shphere. It's kind of a basketball-sized drone, let's call it that. It's a spherical object that was seen flying somewhere in South America. A fellow with a video camera caught it on camera, flying around. And then he saw it drop into the jungle, and he went in and he retrieved it. And unlike most retrievals, most artifacts that are collected by ufologists, archaeologists, people in the neighborhood, this one was not confiscated by the government. There you see the video that I was referring to. This is a spherical object. The point to be noted is this spherical object looks very much like some of the quote-unquote drones that started the drone sensation back in December of last year, when there were drones all over the world. But it all started with a spherical object that descended onto a runway in Manchester, England, and came down literally onto hovering over the runway and was photographed by pilots. The other point I make is that I've seen these spherical objects not just over Earth and over the runway in Manchester, but the Apollo astronauts, Apollo 17, actually took films of these objects surveying them and in many ways intimidating them and saying, "Go, Yankee, go home, don't come back." I may tell you a little bit more about that later, but I'm going to ask Alan to join me to discuss this thing called the Buga Shphere, which we at first thought was an extraterrestrial object, but since both of us are computer literate and computer technicians, I used to build computers from the get-go, we recognize some patterns or designs on the surface of the Buga Shphere that indicate that it may be of terrestrial origin and with a printed circuit on it. So Alan has been working for many months on this, and he has some interesting theories. I should say that Alan is an electronics expert. He served in the U.S. Army. He served in Europe, and he's been exposed to a lot of this technology on the other side of the veil. So, Alan Fredrickson, thanks for joining us. Beyond Undisclosed.
You bet. First thing I'd like to address is the misnomer that somehow this has some kind of a message for all mankind. It has no such thing. If they begin to claim that, or if they claim that they have accessed this and there's some kind of a message, it's an absolute farce. This is obviously 1980s technology, late 80s. Probably since it was military, it probably is late 70s, since they don't release that to the public right away. However, if you take a look at these, you'll see here on this here, it has 16 pins. They're all discolored. There's an insulator underneath each one of these, and there is a guide pin here. It is not in the center of the circle. It is offset of the circle. And what happens is there's a suction cup that comes down, or a metal ring that comes down and fits into this post right there. And after it fits into that post, let's see if we can get a better view.
Can you enlarge it? Can you stretch the window?
Yeah, you bet. Let me get that back into focus here. We had a good start there. Just a second. Let me put that one back.
Yeah.
All right.
Just
so
make bigger so we can see the
absolutely
the circuit.
Okay.
Right. This is where we recognize this as a circuit for a microchip, and we recognize it as one of those early chips like the 8088, which is before the XT and the Pentium, a very, very early but sophisticated for its time, the best microchip of the time, early 80s, late 70s. And then there was also something regarding the writing or the glyphs around that, where maybe we'll touch upon that later. But this technological point that Alan has discerned is really worth studying. So go ahead, Alan. Now we can see the central pin, and we can see.
And you notice it is offset from the center. The center is over here. This here's offset, and there is a circle shaped like a suction cup that comes down on this, and it hits this pin, and then it rotates. Now the reason why that pin is off center is so that these, when it is in the right place, is the only place that these will connect, is when it's rotated to the right place. So all of these, when it hits,
you know what I'm getting? I'm getting an impression almost of the tumbler locks in
exactly
in a lock. You can do different combinations, and you could connect different nodes or combinations of those nodes by rotating the central pin. Go ahead, back to you.
Exactly. So when the suction cup comes down, it doesn't have the alignment on these contact points. After it puts the pin in here, it rotates until these points match up, and that's the reason why this is offset. Now, if it is in a position that is not supposed to, it simply barely misses each one of these contacts. If it's not perfectly, you can tell that there is a gap. If it was to rotate right here,
Mm-hmm.
if I was to rotate between any of those, there is a gap that is approximately the same size as the gap.
Yeah,
In other words, as it rotates, it can pass by here without hitting anything if it is not aligned. And as soon as it hits alignment, one of these pins would be positive, the other one would be negative, and it would be 20. I think it would be 25 volts or 24 volts high and 12 volts low. So this
Hey,
here
if
is
you could advance it a little bit to the point where you see the figure off to the side, but without the writing on the center, that would be very cool. See if you can advance it and then just freeze it. They don't show it for very long, so you have to be very quick.
well, I can slow the
the
speed down all to a crawl, and
Okay.
that might give us a
Okay,
chance to find
that's
it.
good. Yeah.
Tell
All
me
right,
when
it comes right up. The writing will disappear. That's it. You can let it rotate a little more. I think it brings it into view a little bit more. Yeah, more or less. That's good.
Okay.
We can see it
Well,
from a different
here you can
perspective.
see there's enough room for one of the connections in order to pass by without hitting these other connections.
Right.
Okay. So when the pin is dropped and this here is rotated, it matches up to these connections. And here's the thing. This is 16-pin technology, which takes it from actually above the 8088 and puts it into 386 to 486 50. 50 would be the speed of the processor. So this
Right.
is not that advanced. This here has been around for quite a while. Then you would ask me, why put all this symbolism on it? Plausible deniability. If it is captured, if it is discovered, it's alien, it is not man-made, don't talk about it. Black, guys in black is going to show up at your house if you do. There it is. So you have
Right.
1980s
The
artifact.
other impression I got, the different combinations could create different frequencies to make that thing oscillate. I get the feeling that it's oscillatory vibrations that make the thing levitate.
It
And,
is, but that's
perhaps
generated internally. This here is a navigational programming, or to
Yeah.
download after this is sent out. Now, these smaller orbs have been seen around larger craft sightings, and they zoom a little bit above the tree line, the natural horizon. They'll zoom and they'll go all over the place. At night, you will see these things flying about. If you've ever done any night driving, if you've seen a line of light in front of you, if you turn your head in that direction, you'll see it turn on again. It turns on, it turns off, it turns back on, and you'll be able to see it at night. A lot of night drivers I've spoken to have seen what appears to be something extremely fast. If you blink, you already lost it. But if you do see one and you turn your head in that direction, you'll see it again. It moves that fast. And the speculation is these are marking and mapping the magnetic ley lines of the Earth for a larger ship to pass by. It's a navigational tool.
Or they may even be using those magnetic flux lines. That's what you're talking about.
Exactly.
They may be even
This
using those
goes
magnetic
out
flux lines
and
as
maps
the energy source
and maps
for
that.
the power.
Exactly. And it maps the
The other
terrain.
thing we can't overlook.
It
You
maps
can't
the terrain
overlook
for larger craft in order to come by.
symbolism. We can't overlook the symbolism. We have two symbols there. One is practically the eye in the pyramid right there in the
Absolutely, and
center.
the other ones are the mark
And the
of
crescent.
the Shriners. That's what these
The
half
crescent
moons are.
moon.
Yeah, the crescents. Those are Shriner markings. Okay, I
Right.
strongly believe that these markings are nothing more than plausible deniability. To give it some kind of a fancy something, if it's ever captured, it's a complete anomaly. They don't know what they have, and that would be the
But
intention if you have.
they could also have been handed down. They could also have been handed down since ancient times. These could be symbols that are sacred symbols to the entities that are downloading this to terrestrial contacts like the Masons or the Vril
Well,
Society.
here's the other side of the
We can
story.
talk about that.
I agree with you in where some of these symbols come from, but here's the other thing. When they're sitting there saying that this has, a message to all the world, it's a little bit like sending a forklift out with a message to aliens 10,000 years from now. It's just not going to happen. These extraordinary claims that this here is having some kind of a message to Earth and was deliberately dropped by aliens or a mistake is all a setup. This here is something exactly like the I3 Atlas. Okay? It is something in order to hype about, to find out what the general population response is, in order to be able to soften it, move it to the left, move it to the right. But this is controlled narration, not real. The flight is real, the ball is real, but it is U.S. built, and the reason why they dropped it again is in order to test to see how well this would survive. Because I'm sorry, one call by the president, one call by black ops, this here disappears, and there's 20 people dead in its path. And guess what? The 20 people died of some kind of a radiation poisoning or something. Don't worry about it. So this is the only reason why we have possession of this.
Dropped in South America.
Yeah, the only reason why we have possession of this
As
is
I
because
say,
they're allowing it.
Yeah, the other significant thing is that this was dropped in South America, and I think that it psychological operations to see how a particular cultural group will react, respond, or interpret it, and see how what kind of psychological effect it has. That's a very good picture of it right there. And I was thinking that before we end this segment, we might go back to the beginning of the video where we see it flying and do it in very slow motion so we can study its
well, that's another thing that's interesting. Now,
Now,
I've been going over some of the contact interviews, and it was Matilda that brought photographs into the alien at Area 51 and showed them photographs. And is this one real? Is this one real? And this is long before AI. And Matilda, what was, I can't remember the alien's name.
Very interesting. Alan is referring to. Hold on, let me tell them who Matilda is. Matilda McElroy was the secretary of Colonel Blanchard, who was the commanding officer at Roswell Air Force Base, Army Air Force Base, when the Roswell craft was recovered and the alien, the living alien or animate alien, was brought in for debriefing. There was no way to communicate with the alien verbally, but Matilda McElroy was very psychic, and she could hear the thoughts of the aliens, and the alien could hear her thoughts. So she acted as the translator. Colonel Blanchard would pose the question to her, she would think it, and the alien would respond to her. The other interesting thing about this particular photograph is that we can see a human hand. And that's why I've said that it's about the size of a basketball or a soccer ball. And also dropping a soccer ball shaped object in South Africa is also part of a psychological operation, because it'd be something very familiar to South Americans who are just, they call it football, we call it soccer crazy people. So it would be something that would be very intriguing and appealing and unthreatening, I would say. So this is a very good photo. We can get an idea of the size.
Here's a thought from the MIB point of view. If I was to test in order to see what the public's reaction is, I'm not going to give them something that is truly alien. I'm going to give them something that looks alien, acts like an alien, but something I can continue to control, which is another, another argument that this is actually man-made. And as far as the seams and stuff like that is concerned, I'm sorry, I've worked with too much metal. I've worked with too much metal in my time. It would be too easy in order to weld these seams together and then polish them away. They disappear, okay? and you can hide welds, you can do this, you can do that. The only thing you have to do is just make sure that you polish or finish with 1600 grit. Okay, it's going to come out this way. You could cut this thing in half, re-weld it back together, and other than the fact that the gap of the weld, okay, or the distance of the weld, it'll be a perfect sphere after that too. So this business about the welds, I don't buy, because we have too many ways in order to put these things together that are perfect. Okay, so it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, the other thing that occurs to me is that it could be that this technology was handed down to U.S. military, and this is one of the prototypes for reverse engineering it, and that for them, ideally, to test it would be in, pardon the expression, a more primitive culture like South America, not as advanced technologically, scientifically as we are in America and North America, and that if the object were dropped there, they'd be more puzzled than somebody in Kansas or California or you in Colorado. If you found this thing, you'd have a handle on it right away. As we can see just by analyzing the photographs, we do have
well, there's
concept
this, and then there's
of
that
what this could
rod.
be.
There was a kid that found a rod that had similar markings, especially around the top of this, had very similar markings, and was a rod, and he disappeared. The everything disappeared. He never came back on after he tried to attack it with a drill bit. There was something that happened in the background. You can't see what's going on, but this theme is more than one item, and it is very similar to the same metal as the rod that he had discovered. So I'm thinking that this is definitely man-made. It is based on alien technology, and this is how far progressed we were in the 80s. Now we have full ships that you can actually climb in yourself and fly them. The technology back then would have been deadly.
Last year. Was this discovered last year? When was this discovered? Or recovered is a better word.
March of 2025 is a Buga Shphere. The rod has only appeared, I think, in the last 8 months online. It's difficult in order to find those videos of that rod. But the kid, it was about the size of a good size of a French loaf bread. And it was perfectly symmetrical. It was just simply like a pill shape, but it was overextended. And then it had these symbols on it, and he tried to use a drill in order to drill into it. When he did that, there was some lighting effects, there was some movement, and the camera just goes dead. Now, whether or not that's, again, another, false flag, or horribly real, in the fact that these things do contain deadly radiation and possible plasma generation that could have killed the kid. And that's what many are speculating now.
These things, when they're activated, this technology, when it is energized, seems to produce an ionized field, electrical field around it. That's why they are seen to be glowing at night. They glow with a halo around them. It's interesting to note that this object, popularly dubbed the Buga Shphere, is slowly migrating its way toward North America. I understand that it was turned over to Jaime Maussan, the famous Mexican ufologist, and that he had a lecture in Mexico where he demonstrated that. So the day may come where we may be able to see it here inside the United States. But I'm afraid that if it gets inside the United States, the military-industrial complex might just jump on it. Can you go back to
They can jump on it anywhere. I mean, we just went and got a president of where? We just snatched the president out of his presidential palace and brought him to the U.S. in order to face charges. I think that we can recover this without any political knowledge whatsoever. So the fact that this is still in the civilian population is extremely telling. They want us to have it.
As long as you mentioned the snatching of Maduro, I'd like to tell the audience that a lot of people believe that that was an extraction, not a kidnapping, that it was a rescue mission, that President Trump had already negotiated his deposition, his disposal, his stepping down from power, but he informed the president that if he surrendered, he would be killed by his bodyguard, who were Cubans. So there had to be an extraction. They had to have. They had to suppress the bodyguards
very,
because
very insightful.
their orders are to protect the president.
That.
Thanks. I really feel that way because when you see the photographs of Maduro giving the thumbs up and the high sign and smiling in handcuffs with his wife, there's a little bit of cognitive dissonance. You would think the guy would be totally
would be crushed.
morose and depressed.
He's not crushed. And they've already defeated legally. They've already defeated the charges against him. They're claiming now that they don't have the jurisdiction to charge him for the charges that they have, meaning that he'll be released into where?
Yeah. Witness protection program. That's what I think. I think that he's cut a deal, that he's going to cough up a lot of information about the Chinese infiltration of South America. Folks have to understand that this operation against Venezuela is not Venezuela target itself. It's the surrogate of China, and the operations that we're conducting right now in Iran are to cut off the pipeline of oil to China, who is the real enemy. Anyway, let's get back to the Buga here. So can you play the video from the beginning where it's flying and played in slow motion, and then we'll wrap this up for this. And that's very beautiful. We can talk about that another time. That object apparently was dates back to Roman times.
Well, here's something I want to point out. I was bringing this up before. Matilda had said that the photographs that were very sharp, were fake photographs. As you can tell, you cannot see any of the markings. You cannot tell if this is spinning. You cannot tell if it's stationary to itself or relative to its surroundings. But the surface of this is very blurry, confirming the fact that there is a visual distortion. Right here is a perfect place. You can actually see a glow around it.
Let me say something else. Let me say something else. As that object that we've just seen in the last few seconds, it was passing by a transmission tower. And those transmission towers may be a power source or something that they sap. I've known that for many, many years that UFOs go to power stations and recharge their batteries. They suck the electricity right out of the power stations or the transmission.
New York blackout.
Towers.
New York blackout.
Yeah, blackout. It was interesting. In Syracuse, the UFO was seen near a power transmission line, and then something happened, and the entire Northeast went black. It's also a very interesting coincidence that the little boy was up there in the same region, and he had a stick in his hand, and he happened to hit one of the braces of one of these towers, and when he hit it, all of the lights went out, and he thought that he'd done it. Now here's an excellent little piece of video here where you see it maneuvering, gaining altitude, descending.
And here's that glow.
It really
around
does look like a drone that somebody else.
Here's the glow around the outside there. You can see it clearly here. That will cause a visual distortion of the surface. So that's the reason why we're not
seeing it myself in real life.
Yeah, that's the reason why we're not seeing the writing on it.
I've seen that myself. During the day, it looks like an aura or a halo. And I saw that on June 1st, 2019, here in New York City at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, where I saw a sphere like that descend to street level. It was huge. It was about 50 feet in diameter. Then I saw it rise above a 12-story building and then rotate, and I expected it to stay in a spherical form, but when it rotated, it changed into a flying disc. And I saw it fly slowly, waving as it flew. And I felt I was getting a personal message from it saying, "Happy flying, Robert." So Now
Well,
that's a very
here's
good
that final
and,
photo I
demonstrating.
wanted to bring up. It's trying to be compared to the
Sure.
message from Carl Sagan that he was got a reply. That is not the case. This relationship between that and this ball is
No.
completely made up. Um, but this does show all but two of the pins that are marked, and you can tell that this here is actually an interface. A suction cup comes down on this. These make up contact, and you can put data in order to create a flight program, or you can pull data out, such as navigational information.
Right, right. Well, Alan, thank you very much for this demonstration. Folks, thank you for joining us. This is the first in a series of episodes that we're doing for Beyond Undisclosed. And join us again for the next one. We're going to talk about archaeological anomalies and tools that have been found in sediment that is thousands of years old, and cryptids, and any number of unusual things related to the extraterrestrial origins of human knowledge and perhaps even human beings ourselves. So thank you for joining us for Beyond Undisclosed, and stay tuned for the next episode. Have a good evening, or a good afternoon, or a good morning. Signing out.